May Krier, an original Rosie the Riveter, was born in 1926 in North Dakota. After the bombing of Pearl Harbor, May, her sister, and a friend headed to Seattle, Washington, where May became a riveter for Boeing, making B-17s and B-29s for 92 cents an hour. She met Norm, her late husband, a sailor, on the dance floor in 1944. Norm was transferred to Pasco, Washington, and in April 1945 they were married. She left Boeing to work for the Army engineers with Italian prisoners of war in Pasco. Eventually, they settled in Pennsylvania, where they raised their 2 children and where May still resides today. May joined other Rosies to get the first national Rosie the Riveter Day in 2017 and the Congressional Gold Medal for Rosie in 2020. During the pandemic, through her Facebook page, Honor Rosie, May, with the help of companies, groups, and individuals, made and mailed well over 6,000 red and white polka dot face masks. 5,000 masks went directly to her Honor Rosie followers. In 2022, her face mask and bandana were worn by Rosie the Rocketeer in the commander's seat of the Boeing Starliner, which traveled to the International Space Station and back. In April of 2024, May accepted the Congressional Gold Medal on behalf of all Rosies. It was a great honor to her. May continues to travel the world to promote Rosie the Riveter's legacy. And at 100 years, May still cuts her own grass. Now it's time to join Breaking Barriers with May Krier. Hello, May.
Hi, Deb.
Now, have you recovered from your big birthday?
I'm slowly recovering. Danny just told me she's got 40 more gift cards or birthday cards to send to me.
But, wow, okay.
That really piled up. At least I'm not getting any more. Every day I was getting another one for a while.
Mm-hmm.
That was nice. It was nice, but I went on for the whole month, and it was really rewarding, and I'm getting such a spin-off from it. But
Yeah.
I'm coming back to first now.
Yes, you are. You are. And so let's talk a little bit before we have our guests come on about Chris Baxter, teacher at Boyne City Middle School, contacted us and said, I have a strange request, but would May give us a pair of her shoes? And then you tell us about the shoes that you donated to the Shoe Museum.
Well, that was only one of the many pairs I wore out walking the halls of Congress. That was so much fun because I loved doing that, going from office to office, meeting all the different delegates and people. Mm-hmm. It was really nice. And when they asked for my shoes, I thought, this is great because I was going to give that pair away. And I thought, this is great because, like I said, I wore out many pairs of shoes walking the halls over the years. So, and when this came about, I just loved that there was something unique and different when they made this request because this is all a lot of fun. Besides being a lot of work, it's a lot of fun. It's very rewarding to many people. Mm-hmm. It's nice.
And so that's when we decided we wanted to have Matt Hamilton from East Jordan and Chris Baxter on. So, Brandy, bring them on, and we'll learn more about the Shoe Museum. Hello.
Hi, Chris. Hi, Matt.
Hello.
Hello.
We're happy to have you with us so that we can share with our viewers exactly what the Shoe Club is. So, Matt, can you tell us the history of your Shoe Club? Because I believe you had it first and you've been doing it for a while. So tell us how it started and why you do it and why it's important.
Yeah, thank you, first of all, May and Deb, for having us on here. What a true honor it is to spend this time with you guys and be on your podcast and be able to share a little bit about the Shoe Club and our story. So thank you for that. So I'm a teacher in East Jordan. I teach history, ancient world history and middle and high school video production. This is my 24th year teaching there. About 18 years ago, we had a couple tragedies in our school where we lost a couple of students, and we called in a speaker, Mike Donahue, and he shared this powerful message of hope and empathy. And in that 1 hour presentation, he had a bag of shoes, and he would pull out these shoes and he would tell this story. 10 minutes, he just shared a couple stories of these kids and their shoes. And the next day, my students were like, wow, those shoes were so powerful. And then because of his presentation, my students were coming up to me before school, at lunch, and after school, sharing their stories with me. And this was in May. So this is, I've had my students for about 6 months, and my students all had smiles on their faces every day. And I thought life was good and everything was just great. And all of a sudden now they started opening up and sharing their stories with me. And then I couldn't sleep for a couple of weeks and trying to, talk to my wife. And I'm like, every day I'm hearing these new stories of what my kids were struggling with and going through, and insecurities and struggles and whatnot, and at home and at school. And it's like, I got to do something to help these kids. And after not being able to sleep for a couple of weeks, I came with the idea of the shoe club, because I realized back then that schools don't necessarily have a bullying problem or a truancy problem, or a drug and alcohol problem. What they have is a value problem. If students don't feel valuable, they don't act valuable. And so that's the whole premise of the shoe club. Our mission is to value yourself and value others. And so, through the club, the students learn to dream big, set goals, work hard, and give back. And then we do all kinds of activities and projects and go on trips to solidify those lessons. So that was about 18 years ago that I started this shoe club, and just simply to teach kids that they have value and to value other people.
That's awesome. Can you hear me, Chris?
Matt, that I find out through my experience, once the children, you plant that seed with the children, they go home and they talk about it. Their parents talk about it, their grandparents. And all of a sudden they find out there's more in the family than what they realize. And you're bringing out the best in them and something they probably didn't even realize was important.
That's the whole thing, is that everybody has a story, and their story matters, whether you're 100 years old or whether you're 12 years old, and realizing that and hearing other people's stories. Because whenever I get a pair of shoes, or Chris at Boyne City gets a pair of shoes, we share the stories of those people. And these kids get an understanding of, they see these people on television, or, see them on the internet, or, on social media, and they just think they're lucky and they're fortunate and they've always been successful. They've always had this great life and life is perfect for them. And then they hear the story. It's like, oh, they were teenagers at one time and they struggled as well. So.
Well, that's true. Chris, can you hear us now?
Yes, I had a little technical issue, but I'm good now. Thank you.
Okay, we're good. Now you're both from different schools, right?
Yes.
And Chris, tell us, you just started this, right? And tell us who your first pair of shoes are.
Yes, we Boyne City Middle School. We just started in September. It was, and May's shoes were our very first pair. So thank you so much, May.
That's amazing. It's up to fun because you never know where these things are going to go. When I started to work to get Rosie Riveter, do our publicity to make them realize what women have done, you don't know where you're going with it. It's just step by step. You learn, you make mistakes, you do many things, but the whole process is such fun.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so tell us, Chris, how, I think I saw some pictures. Tell us, how do the kids participate in the middle school, which is probably different than the high school? What do they do? What kind of activities?
For the shoe club?
Yeah.
Yes. So we've done a couple of different things. In the fall, we did a canned food and non-perishable food donation. Our goal was to raise 150 cans or items, and we doubled that goal. So we hit about 300, and we donated those goods to our middle school food pantry for students and families in need, and also our local food pantry. And that was right around Thanksgiving time, so that was a great time. We've done some activities with Matt Hamilton and Trevor Day, some Reach for the Rings, I believe it was called, with Mike Tirico. And we also did a bowl-a-thon Let's see. December, we did this random acts of kindness that Matt has told us that he's been doing for a few years. So we went around our town of Boyne City one afternoon and passed out gift cards and little Christmas notes to make someone's day.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Chris, it's what it teaches the children. What they don't realize their thoughts and feelings, like that. Maybe they gave a can of peas, but they'll remember that. They'll think, "Gee, I helped somebody, or I did something." Sometimes they feel better about it than the one that receives it.
For sure, it always feels better, and the students are starting to realize that it's almost better, and it feels better to give instead of receiving. It
Right.
really put some pretty big smiles on their faces, and they felt really good.
And it doesn't have to be big or enormous. Just it's a beginning for them.
Yes, that's correct. Anything small, if it's like $1, or like you said, a can of peas or a can of soup, or a $5 gift card to somebody, it's going to make somebody's day.
I know we don't realize it. Makes them also realize that we're not the only ones out there. There's a lot of people that are hungry and without a shelter. So that opens their eyes to a lot of things. Oh, it's very good for them, and socially.
Yes.
So, Chris, what made you decide to ask May for shoes?
So I remember watching a TV news story during the pandemic about masks, and I was a teacher, and it was when masks were not, like, after a few months you could buy them everywhere, but we as teachers, we went back to school in the year 2020/2021. We were full-time in person every day. We didn't have a lot of masks. And so I reached out through your Facebook page saying that I was a teacher and I would love a mask. We have to wear them every day. So I have one of your masks, May, and a letter. So I love that. So that's how it started. And then I just thought, for a pair of shoes, that you would just be a perfect fit if you're willing to donate your shoes.
Well, you're kind of starting where I started with the masks. When I start making them, I love to sew, and I start making them, and I just start giving them to people that help me with help us promoting our National Day and things like that. I think I'd reached 300 when the newspaper picked up on it, and they started to go viral. And Deb said to me, she called me one day and she said, "May, can I help you?" She had no idea what she was getting into.
Well, let me tell you, it was something.
That's a lot of sewing. That's a lot of masks.
Well, it's a lot of mailing and dressing and with everything. We couldn't do this alone.
The community really came through in every way to help, and that's what it's about.
Yeah, well, I appreciated it.
Well, this is where you begin. You just don't know where it's going to go. Even Boeing picked up on it, our local Boeing, and they even take the mask from Deb, and they even addressed them, didn't they, Deb, and mailed them out?
They mailed them. Yep, 3,000.
Wow. All over the country and outside of the country as well, or?
No, they asked me. I had several requests for outside the country, but I said, no, this is our country. This is for our people.
Mm-hmm.
I kept it that way. Even now with the birthday cards I'm getting them from out of the country. In fact, they tell me there's one on its way from Australia.
Nice.
Haven't gotten it yet.
So, Matt, how many pairs of shoes does your shoe club have? And also, how do you decide, or do the kids decide? Who decides who you're going to ask for shoes?
Yeah, a little bit of all of that. So we have about 240 shoes in our collection now. And just like what Chris said, like you see somebody on TV or you read about somebody's story and you're like, that's fascinating. And I want to share that story with my students. So some of them is, I'll see somebody on TV and reach out or whatever. Or a lot of times my kids will come to me and says, Hamilton, you got to get this person shoes. You got to get this person shoes and stuff. So combination of, people that I see, but they have to all live out the values. We always say we want to find people that, are on that national level, like May, like people around the country know who she is and is recognizable. And then, but the real requirements are you have to find people that dream big, set goals, work hard, and give back. So they're going to we only look for people who live out the values of our club and have phenomenal stories that can teach our kids lessons. And May's a great representative of that.
Where's your museum, and how do you display these shoes? Do you
Yep,
have
so-
pictures or anything?
Yep, we have a little display case in our lobby of our school that I'm changing out shoes all the time. And then in my classroom, I have shelves along my wall that I have the shoes on display there. And then exciting news is that next year, Grand Rapids Public Museum, which is one of the largest museums in Michigan, is going to have a exhibit using our shoes. So they're going to display most of the shoes, and probably for about a year they're going to be in that museum.
Wow.
So that's pretty
Pretty
cool.
soon you'll have more shoes. You'll be mounted shoes. You don't have to keep adding one all the time. The more popular you get, the more shoes you're going to get.
And I'll say my classroom only smells a little bit. It doesn't.
Well, that's why they have sprays.
Matt, do you have any shoes you can show us?
Yeah, I brought some here. I'll start off with the biggest shoe in our collection, which this one next to my head here is. This shoe here is a size 22, belongs to Shaquille O'Neal. So Shaquille O'Neal.
Wow.
Gosh, look, the size of that.
22.
I'll compare it to a shoe here in a second. But again, Shaquille O'Neal is super successful, but yet he's happy. He's go lucky. Super supportive.
That takes 2 spaces. That one.
Yes, possibly 3. Yeah. This one here, I always share this one. This belonged to Michael J. Fox. The actor Michael J. Fox. And I always say when I got this pair of shoes from him, I learned that I wasn't my wife's first crush, and I'm not my wife's last crush either. So I think she still has a little crush on him. But he was on top of the world, traveling the world, doing whatever he wanted to do, and then he got Parkinson's disease, which severely limited what he can do and couldn't do. And but he wakes up. His big thing is choosing hope or choosing joy. And so he chooses joy every day. He says, I have a choice every day of how I'm going to face that day. And so he wakes up and says, you know what, today's going to be a great day, and I'm going to make the best of it, regardless of how I'm feeling, what I'm going through. So great story for him. This one here belonged to Kobe Bryant. We reached out to him pretty early on. And, he was always the first one in the gym, last one out of the gym. He didn't become one of the greatest basketball players of all time because he was lucky. He became that because he had great work ethic, and he put the time and the effort in for that. This one here is Marty Cooper. Have you guys heard of Marty Cooper before?
I have not.
I don't either.
Nope. He's about 4 years younger than May, so he's just a youngster here. He invented the cell phone. He's the first person ever talking a cell phone. So yes, and when I kind of just similar to what Chris, after I shared the shoes, I called him and I said, hey, Marty, this is what I told my students about you. And, I kind of went through his life history, and he's like, how did you know that about me? I'm like, well, you're all over the internet. It's pretty easy to find this stuff out about you. And then he's like, I wish my grandkids cared as much about me as you do. And I was like, I said they do care about you. They just don't express it. And it's always I went back to my kids, and it was like, this is the conversation I had with Marty, It was like, make sure you tell your grandparents, because we all love our grandparents and people, our spouses or our kids, but we don't often express that gratitude or that love because we take it for granted because they're right there. We're going to see them tomorrow. We're going to talk to them. And that we just never take that moment oftentimes we don't take that moment to express our gratitude. So that's a great lesson of, making sure people in your life know that you appreciate it. And you can tell them.
Matt, how can you keep all these stories straight? Do you keep a record in the shoe, or how do you do that?
For some reason, I remember the shoe stories and forget everything else. So
when you get to 1,000,
my wife, she'll tell you. I'll share a couple of more here. This Ruby Bridges, she was 6 years old, integrated into an all-white school. She was a black.
Yes.
Integrated into all-white school in Louisiana. People left the school. Teachers quit school because she was coming to that school. Yet she was 6 years old, and her bravery and courage helped change our country. And then her teacher, Barbara Henry, she's 92 years old, phenomenal woman. She says, I want to teach her. And she, so these two together, two of my favorite shoes together here of courage and bravery, that, a little thing that helped change our country. This one here is kind of a unique one. This is, did you guys watch the Olympics this year? I don't know if you watched the Olympics.
Yeah, I do. I love them.
Michaela Schifrin. So she's she is the best alpine skier of all time. And, she's got a lot of the most world championships and World Cup trophies and all that. And, my kids, I told them that,
Who is that, Matt?
What's that?
Who is that?
Michaela Schifrin.
She won the year skiers this year?
Yes. Yep. So she won a gold medal, and I can't remember exactly what event, but I tell the kids that every time she races, she's on a different mountain. There's different conditions. It's sunny sometimes, it's raining other times, it's snowing other times. The gates are in different locations, yet she shows up every single race to compete and to win. Like, she doesn't complain about it's too sunny or it's too snowy or it's too icy. She just goes out there and does her thing and competes. Great story there.
That's what's nice about the Olympics, whether they win or lose, the fact that where they work just to get there.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Incredible work ethic there.
Uh-huh.
This one here, can you any guesses on which shoe who belongs to?
That's probably the one I'm happiest about.
How can I buy
Dolly.
tonight?
Dolly Parton?
Yep. So this is Dolly Parton. When I reached out to a few different people, they all said no, she doesn't give anything away. She's got a 40,000 square foot warehouse where she's got outfits and shoes going back to the 70s. And I talked to her assistant, her right hand person there, and he's like, I think I can maybe get something from her. So he talked to her, and she's like, absolutely, I want to donate to the shoe club. And so she wore these a couple years ago. She just had the latest album was her rock and roll album that just came out a couple years ago. And we have her we have some pictures of her wearing these while she was recording that album, just to give you some perspective.
Oh, jeez.
I'm gonna back this up here, but Dolly's Shaquille shoes there. Fascinating there. I'll show you a couple more, but this one here, Anne Bancroft. There's the actress Anne Bancroft, and then there's the explorer Anne Bancroft. This is the explorer Anne Bancroft's boots. She was the first.
Is that a ski boot too?
No, actually, it is a cross-country ski boot. Yep.
Uh-huh.
She was the first woman to walk across Antarctica, and she did it, in cross-country skis. When I reached out to her, she says, I still have my boots that I crossed Antarctica, and would you like those? And it's just like, May, your shoes that were in Congress, in the Capitol building. Like, that's incredible that you donated those shoes, because they have such rich story and history to them. It always adds to that story when the shoes have significance themselves. So that's important and super. I am very honored to have Anne Bancroft's.
Oh, great.
But again, it's all about preparation. She did something that nobody's done before, and she had to prepare and think about it. And, it took a lot of work and time and effort to be successful. That you can't just jump into something. Last one is, this is the most plain shoes in the world, but they belong to one of the toughest human beings that ever walked the planet. Any guesses? Mike Tyson.
Oh, no.
Wow.
So his agent said he trained for the Jake Paul in these shoes. I'm like, there's no way Mike Tyson trained for the Jake Paul fight in these shoes. And so, of course, I Googled him and found him in the ring wearing these shoes, trained for the Jake Paul fight. So that was kind of cool. But yeah.
That's so amazing that they respond to you, because the higher they go in popularity, the more they have to be careful about, who they're getting the requests or why they're getting them. When they respond to you, I think that's absolutely great.
Well, it's just like you, May. It's like there's so many wonderful human beings that want to help out and use their influence. That's the thing is that we don't say these aren't, we always say these aren't artifacts to us. Every shoe and boot and footwear is a story that represents, grit and perseverance. And it really shows that success is a journey of effort, growth. So these people are phenomenal people, and they want to help out and make the world a better place. And everybody has a pair of shoes, which I had, I forgot to bring it in here. I had Jane Goodall's. Jane Goodall gave us a pair of her shoes. And the first time I reached out, she says, I only have one pair of shoes because I don't want to make an impact. I try to have as little impact in the world as possible. So I don't have a bunch of shoes. And so it took me a few years to get a pair of shoes from her, but
you realize how unique that is, what you're doing?
Yeah, we just every once, if you guys familiar with Jeff Daniels, the actor
Yeah, I've heard. Yeah.
who's in Dumb and Dumber and Glory and
Yeah,
couple. Yeah, I mean, great actor. But I reached out to his assistant a few months ago, and she's like, "This is the most unique request I've ever had."
well,
Get attention.
maybe that's why it interests us. So it was when you contacted us, we thought this is great. This is fun. You know, we get so serious about different things that people do, and so this is great. This is good for us as well as it's good for you.
Yeah, it's a simple idea, and it's a simple, it's simple to live out, and so everybody gets shoes and understands that, and everybody has a journey in life, and those shoes represent that journey, and it's it's simple at its core, but yet it's incredibly complex.
Well, it's lighthearted. It's very lighthearted. That's nice. It's something we can laugh about and learn. Something that we can enjoy.
Yep.
So Chris, how many students are in your club?
We have around 20 students right now. So this is our first year, kind of like a pilot or like a sister chapter to Matt's. He's been doing it, Matt, 18 years?
Yep.
Yeah. So this is our first one. So I think we're off to a great start. We have 7th and 8th grade students, more 7th grade than 8th grade. So next year, those 7th graders will be 8th graders. They can still, be in the club. And then the handful of 8th graders, they can come back and be a mentor and do some fun things with ourselves, with us as well.
Well, Chris, how did you get them interested? Did they laugh about it, or did they enjoy it, or did they get real serious?
To joining the club?
Yeah.
Well, luckily, Matt and Trevor and Jeff Nelson, they are only about 20 minutes away. And so our two towns are not that far apart. So they have heard through, media and friends and through sports, through different school events about East Jordan Shoe Club. So most of them were pretty familiar with it. So they were very excited once we got our own chapter.
Matt, how many students do you have?
We have 43 7th and 8th graders this year, and probably about 10 to 15 mentors, so high school mentors that continue to, these kids get to high school and they don't want to give it up. So we always find things for them to do, and a reason to be around these these kids and help out.
How about the parents? Do they get involved with any of this with you?
And by the way, I will say, Chris and I, Boyne City and East Jordan are pretty small schools. I think Boyne City probably has about 100 kids per grade, and East Jordan has about 60 to 70 kids per grade. So these are pretty small schools that are, in relationship to a lot of other schools. But I'm sorry, your question was about the parents?
Yeah, are the parents, do they support the kids? Do they like what you're doing, or do they encourage their children to get involved?
Yes, absolutely. A lot of times that's what a lot of my kids will say, my mom made me join this club and I love it. Like, this is awesome. Like, I didn't think I wanted to be a part of it, or I wasn't planning on being a part of it. My parents made me do this, because the parents know we've been around 18 years and we've done some incredible things. And so the parents know about the club and the reputation and how the kids are impacted. So yeah, the kids, I think initially a lot of times the parents push the kids, and then the kids get into it and then get into it.
Well, they don't realize that they're getting more out of this than just getting shoes. I mean, this is a great thing for them to learn to give and learn to take part in a program. That's something that they have to work for. That's rewarding to them if they do something that they're proud of.
Yeah, like Chris said, we do a lot of different projects and activities to live out those values. And it doesn't take much. Like Chris, collecting 300 cans didn't take an exorbitant amount of work, but the lessons it taught was phenomenal. And in that random acts of kindness, walking around the town, for the first time, these kids, again, it's a simple skill of talking to a stranger and going up and giving somebody they have no clue about a gift and putting a smile on their face. And those are life skills that they can have forever.
Yeah.
And
I'll share one great. Oh, go ahead, May.
No, I just say they'll always remember it, always, because my children now are, my daughter's going to be 80 in a few weeks. My son's going to 78, so they're retired a long time. But like my son met one of the fathers at the mall one day, And he said, I didn't even know who he was, but he remembered everything that I had taught him. Or I shouldn't say everything I taught him, but he remembered a lot of things and I was a good teacher in his eyes. So, I mean, no matter how old you get or where you go, you leave your footprints behind. So this is what you're doing, the two of you.
Yeah,
Thanks. I was going to say we have two other shoe club leaders in our school too. I want to give a shout out to them, Delaney Grablin and Megan Burgess. So there's 3 shoe club leaders. But one story I will tell you with one of our students, he's a 7th grader and he's not into athletics, is a good student grade wise, but he didn't have like a fit or a group of friends that he could do lots of things with. And so his parents were just so excited that he found his group and can move forward and do these fun things because, they might not always be in chess club or in student council or play football or be in drama. So this is a nice way for everyone to be involved.
Yeah, he finally got a purpose.
Yes.
I think that's so important when they find something that makes them feel good about themselves.
Yeah, to piggyback on that story, in 2000, we used to do this pancake breakfast where this restaurant let us come in and to kind of take over the restaurant, and we would cook pancakes and serve them, and kids would do a little bit of everything. And that was in 2012 this happened. We had this pancake fundraiser. Last year, this student reached out to me, sent me a letter. He's like, "Hey, I don't know if you remember me, but I was in your class. I was in the shoe club, and we did this pancake breakfast, and I was in the back room doing the dishes. That was my job. I signed up for it." And he says, "I just remember washing dishes thinking, this is so cool that I get to be a part of this." And so, he said it was the first time in my life that I was a part of something bigger than myself. And it was just a simple pancake breakfast, and he was doing dishes. So we always say, if you don't feel valuable, you don't act valuable. But the opposite is true as well. If you feel valuable, then you're going to act valuable. And that's, what Chris and Delaney and Megan are doing at Boyne City, and Craig D. Hoag's doing at Joburg Lewiston, and what Susan Tate's doing in Whitehall, and what Trevor Day and I are doing in East Jordan is just giving kids an opportunity to feel valuable, and then they're going to act valuable. And it can be something as simple as the things that we've done so far this year, or some of the bigger projects that we've done.
Well, I bet you go home at nights too. It's good for you too. Probably a lot of work, but it keeps your mind working all the time too, promoting and thinking how I can expand this. And you're doing, I like what you're doing with it. I think it's wonderful.
Yeah, it definitely gives us more purpose and more, and at least for me, I don't want to speak for Chris, but as a teacher, teaching is exhausting today. It's just, there's so much on our workload and to think about every day. And this is so rewarding and so beneficial and so positive. And this is in, 18 years I've been doing this, and it's phenomenal seeing the impact on myself and my family. And this is why we wanted to share it with other schools and other communities and branch out outside of East Jordan, and watching what Boyne and Joburg and Whitehall is doing is even more energizing. And
well, the teachers work so hard just to prepare their classes and do all the things they have to do. So this must be kind of like the icing on the cake for you. Even though
it's a lot of fun.
It is. I imagine it is. And it's very rewarding, I would imagine.
Incredibly.
Now this is a national. The shoe clubs are national, right? So they could be in any state. Do you know how many there are?
Well, so right now this is the first year we piloted it with 3 schools, because we were trying to get our processes and our systems down. And so our goal is to have the most impactful middle school club in the country. So these guys have been doing a great job helping us with that, of what works, what doesn't work, and refining our process and systems. And we have phenomenal curriculum. One of the things we do is every month we have a lesson about the valuable mindset that all the chapters do. And so next year we're going to expand the club we're going to add about 10 more chapters next year, and then we'll just keep building from there. But in these first couple of years, we're trying to build something pretty special. And so we're not opening up to a lot of schools, but we're just trying to find the best teachers out there and really the best teachers to lead this program. So yes, right now we're actually just actually tomorrow, where our press release is going out tomorrow, looking for the next chapters for next year.
You know, you was
All in
in
Michigan.
and thinking about what you're doing, you're going to have to turn into a carpenter too.
I don't have those skills yet.
Well, you're going to probably have to do that when you get so many shoes.
So right now you have how many in Michigan, and you're going to expand next year, right?
Yep. So we have 4 schools right now in Michigan, and then with the expectation to expand out to, we'll say, 10 to 15 schools for next year.
Nice.
How do you handle that, Chris, for displaying? Now, do you have, how do you work it? Where is your museum, or what are you doing? Are you working with Steve with his museum, or are you building your own?
Well, so your shoes, like you were our first pair. So those are in our cafeteria. They're behind glass doors, along with your book and a write-up and the card that you sent us. And then actually tomorrow afternoon, we're going to get a pair of Kayla Kuhn's ski boots or shoes. She won the gold medal for mixed teams on aerial skiing. So she's actually from Boyne City, so she'll be our second pair of shoes. So once we get a few, they will continue to go into the cafeteria, but then they'll probably go into one of our classrooms. And then with the hopes of possibly maybe a few can go into the Grand Rapids Public Museum next year when they have that.
Once it starts to grow, then you'll really have your hands full.
Yes.
In a good way.
In a good way.
This is the fun part of it, though. I used to love to tell a story, but I always think creating is the most important thing, the most valuable thing that we, cherish. Because I always tell the story now. Back in our days, it was during the Great Depression, the Dust Bowl. It wasn't easy to find the lumber to build a treehouse. And I always think of the boys that wanted to build a treehouse. The first they had to find the lumber, then they had to find the tools, which they probably took their father's best tools. And then they had to engineer this job. They had to figure out how to build it. And they built that treehouse, but it wasn't near as much fun to play in it as it was to create it. And I think this is what you're doing now. You're creating your treehouse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the students they're making some great memories.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. So where can what is there a website where people can go to see? I know I have to go through a bunch of steps to get to Matt's so I can see all the shoes, and I was very impressed with them when I saw the Dolly ones. So what's the website where people could go and see your museum?
Yeah, so you can go on shoeclubnation.org. So shoeclubnation.org. You can learn more about, just the Shoe Club in general. There's a page on there that talks about, if they want to pass this on to a teacher they know that would be interested in maybe starting a shoe club at their school, they could go on there and find out more information. And then, then our online museum's there. So you can see all the people that have donated to the East Jordan Shoe Club on shoeclubnation.org.
Well, if you can get the ears of Dolly Parton, she's such a generous person. I mean, you're going to get a lot of followers from that alone. I mean, I think that's outstanding when people of that category are, willing to help you with something like this. I think that's great.
Yeah, I'll tell a story. When I first started this, my goal was to get 5 shoes. Yeah, I'm like, if I can get 5 shoes. So when the students join the club, they give me their shoes. So I have a shelf, going around in my room with these inspirational people's shoes. And then I have a bookshelf in my classroom with a whole bunch of kids that have joined the shoe club over the years. And so I was collecting shoes for a couple of years, and then my kids' shoes. And I thought, man, it'd be pretty neat to get some shoes for people who live out the values, valuing themselves, valuing others, dreaming big, setting goals, working hard and giving back. And so I started reaching out to people, just thinking I'll get 5 people and just hang them up in my classroom, and that'd be awesome. And then one day I had emailed Tony Hawk, the famous skateboarder, and his sister emailed me back. She was the head of his fan club, and she was a retired teacher. So she's like, oh my gosh, I love what you're doing. This is incredible. And so she's like, I'll get you a pair of his shoes. And she ended up sending us a pair of shoes that, they're all kind of messed up from his skateboard and stuff. And his shoelace was like torn in half, and it was just a really cool thing. And I was like, holy cow, if we can get Tony Hawk shoes, I don't know if we can ever get May Krier shoes, but so it's kind of went from there. So incredible people, again, just like you, May and Deb, that you guys are phenomenal people that just want to help out and make the world a better place. And
Well, it's something that somebody is born that makes it, like Kobe Bryant or things like and Dolly. That's so important because it's something. It's real, so to speak. You know,
Yeah.
Man. I want you to remember me when you get 1,000 shoes and you still remember all those stories. When you're young, you maybe you'll be able to handle it.
well, for the museum, they've had to have a lot of information, and there's, and they've been impressed with me that I keep very detailed information about every shoe. When I get the address, the people I contacted, I have details on everything. And
Yeah.
so, because in the beginning I didn't, because I'm like, I'll remember everything. And then I just started getting more and more. I'm like, ooh, I better keep track of this and write this stuff down. So I do. Everything is recorded and written down. But
It almost has to be, don't it? Because it's growing.
yeah.
Yeah. And how about you? Are you doing this, following the same pattern? Is that what you do too?
Yes. He's has some big shoes that we're trying to fill in Boyne City. So yes.
No pun intended.
Right.
It looks like you really enjoy what you're doing. That's really the secret. I mean, is to enjoy it. There's nothing better than laughter or enjoyment. And like I said, creating is the thing that makes you happiest in your life. If you can create, and that's what you guys are doing.
Yes, and it's nice to have other schools now and bouncing ideas off from each other. So the 4 schools, we meet every month and we bounce ideas off from each other and share things and encourage each other. And so we really have, over this last year, built a community of these shoe club chapters of phenomenal teachers trying, all we're trying to do is impact kids and communities. And so we have these great ideas and we share them with each other. And I've been very impressed with the teachers that we're working with.
Well,
You work together. It sounds like you work together very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very fortunate.
this has been awesome. Thank you both so much for coming on and talking about your museum, and lots of food for thought for me. I got to have a talk with my shoes because I'm not sure what mine mean. But this has been great.
Hey, real quick here, I'm curious, what are your guys' plans, or what are some goals you guys have yet to accomplish here?
Well, I reached my goal when I got the Congressional Gold Medal. I thought that was my, that was the best. That was what I really shot for, National Rosary Riveter. And then I said, they asked me to accept that gold medal for all those millions of American women who helped save our country and the world. And I said, what an honor that was. So, I really reached my goal. Now I'm sort of coasting, but what I'm doing is promoting are you familiar with our monument in Washington, our Raya Kenny's? Well,
Yeah,
that's what I'm doing now. Anyway, anything I can do to promote it, that's what I'm doing. Everything wherever they need me. But I'm kind of coasting now.
I don't know if you know how to coast there, May. But
I was so surprised at my birthday and all with the different ones. I put my birthday out there and how people responded. I said, right now I've got 535 cards, but Danny from New York State, she said she's got 40 more. And I said, oh my God, I read every one of them. But some of them were just fantastic. The stories they told, a lot of them just said happy birthday. It wasn't anything you had to spend time just to read the names and what have you. But some of them told, like you're doing right now, some of them told stories that their grandparents or great-grandparents, things that, it didn't come out normally. And I think that's so nice that you can bring that out and, so this is the things that are nice. So this is where Raya's program out, anything that I can do, Raya. I always say Raya. Anything that I can do to promote, that's what my goal is now from here on in. In fact,
that's a $17 million goal.
I thought that's what it was.
That's a huge goal.
And just before you got on, I just got this message from New Orleans. I've been invited there quite often, but I'm just reading it. But I don't know how much traveling I want to do. I was invited to Prague and the Netherlands. They're going to go in a few weeks now, but I don't travel overseas like I used to because my knee's going on me, and I got to be more careful now. So I said my knees gone, but I still have my mouth.
And your heart. You have a generous heart.
Yes, she does. She
But
does.
you know what? What you're doing right now is the most important thing of all. It isn't the end. Like when Senator Casey finally got the gold medal, we worked on it for so long. He called me after he got off the floor and he said, "Now, how do you feel, May, now that you've gotten the medal?" It wasn't me. I mean, it was for us. And I said, I'm elated after all these years of working, but that journey getting there was the most valuable part. And that's what you're on. You're on your journey now.
Mm-hmm.
You don't realize it, I don't think, at the time, till you will.
Yeah.
Well, it's been great. Thank you so much for coming on.
It was a lot of fun.
It was great. Yeah, this was enjoyable. Thank you.
Well,
It
was a pleasure.
If we can help you further, let us know.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Take care.
Thank
See you
you.
in the back. See you in the green room. That was great, May.
I thought so too. I loved it. They're nice people.
They are. Now so producer Brandy just said, remember to remind people about the book. It's across the room from me, but there we go.
No,
Together we can do it. We can do it. The story about May is available on Amazon. Proceeds go to the Black Dagger Club down in Florida and the Women's World War II Memorial. So if you haven't gotten your book, get your book and help out two really great nonprofits.
2 went out today, and 2 of mine went out today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's nice.
So I guess that's it. I guess it's time for us to power up.
All right, we can do it.
We can do it. Everybody, be kind to one another. Have a good night.
All
Have
right.
a good week. Bye-bye.
Thank you.